Fire Escape Academy Inspector Training video. Here we are. This is a summary video of the repairs that are going to be needed on this fire escape. So, first of all, we're going to be satisfying 3 codes here. The fire escape is going to be examined, tested, or certified. This examination has determined that the fire escape cannot be tested, which is load tested, and it cannot be certified because we've got too much evidence of rust and bad connections and spalling connections into the building. 3 codes. The building code says must examine, test, or certify. The International Fire Code says that depending on the structural condition, a load test may be ordered to achieve a guarantee. Cannot load test this fire escape at this time. We got evidence that says there's connection problem, so we can't load test until all the connections have been resolved. Then we can load test. And the NFPA says the authority having jurisdiction shall accept by load test or other evidence of strength a fire escape certification, and that's not the case here. We cannot provide other evidence of strength because we've got evidence of deterioration. So first one, must be kept painted, must be structurally sound. This fire escape has been kept painted. So with spot painting, you can actually get this fire escape to pass the paint side. There's been kept painting, and that's one of the reasons why it's not even more deteriorated than it is now. If it was, it does need a paint job. It is older than 78, so it does have lead. So the EPA guidelines apply. You must be a licensed renovator to touch this fire escape in order to scrape it and paint it and follow the EPA guidelines. Number 2, if you're going to be repairing this fire escape, you need to pull a permit with the city in order to affect any structural repairs on this fire escape. Let's start first of all with this ladder. First of all, we got bees up here, so we need to get an exterminator over here to eliminate all these bees. Otherwise, anybody working here or firemen training here are going to get stung by these bees. That's number 1. Number 2 is got evidence of spalling and the connections into the building. Spalling here, cracks, spalling, original hardware, evidence of rust in the connection. So all these must be changed out in order for this to achieve a guarantee. If we want to leave behind any original hardware, such as square head bolts, we got to load test it in order to get the guarantee. Otherwise, I can verify that an old 50 to 75-year-old bolt is in good condition, but I can only give you an opinion letter, but I want the disclaimer on it for no liability, in that I'm leaving behind original hardware. The code says examine, test, or certify. Otherwise, an opinion is one that the liability is not with the examiner. The liability lies back to the owner of the property and the owner of the building. So what we have here is we're looking for evidence of maintenance. We have original hardware throughout the whole fire escape, but then on the treads we have original hardware, but there is evidence of maintenance in that somebody did all the gussets. The only problem is on here, somebody did the gussets like this one. They changed all the bolts on the gussets, but they left all the rust inside the connection. They changed all the bolts. These are all new hardware, but rust is still in the connection, and it gets worse going down. They left the original hardware here welded, but then left all the rust inside this connection. See all the rust there? All that rust. All the rust there. So whoever came here did not know or was not guided properly. See? All original hardware and rust inside the connection. All that's got to be cleaned out. Any rusted connection must be sealed. Look at all the rust inside the rail. Okay? And it gets worse. See? Right there? This is worse down below. All your cement has problems. Spalling. Water's getting in there, and there's dragon tooth rust stains, indicating that we have connection problem there. We have connections problems there. There's a lot of spalling. All that dragon tears means that water's getting in and water's coming back out. Rust jacking is occurring right now, and ice jacking is occurring. Spalling. These are not all tied back correctly, and there's a plate on the inside that I took photographs in. So all these must be addressed and repacked correctly. If there was no ability for me to verify the connection on the inside, on this particular tower, I would basically have 2 options. I can open this all up and verify it all the way through, 8 to 12 inches deep, or I can put an epoxy bolt 5 to 6 inches away on either side, put that 3/4 epoxy bolt into the building, and then I would put a mechanical angle back to this bracket and this C-channel, and then I would mechanically fasten it. That lets me fix the exterior and rely on a new connection into the building to avoid the load test. Everything here is to avoid the load test. So remove the bolts, clean the surface, clean the material, clean the rust, and you basically avoid the load test. Otherwise, you leave behind any original hardware, you still have to load test this platform. So somebody changed all the bolts but didn't change the front one, so we need to load test this to get the guarantee, and nobody sealed this up so the rust stayed inside. So it was a very poor job of repair done here. There is some evidence that this fire escape is pulling away from the building. As you can see, right here, it's already got enough for me to throw my whole finger inside here. Okay, looking down again, you can see the big gap. They changed the bolts, they left the rust. Changed the bolts, they left the rust. Look at all the rust inside here. All that's rust. Look how much major rust is in that connection. That's the bottom foot of this whole stringer. Is in bad shape. And as you go along, same thing happens. Changed bolts, the rust remained. They changed the bolts, and look at the big gap there, the rust remained. Same thing here, all the spalling is occurring. Water definitely is getting inside. Look at the major rust here. Look how much rust is left. And this is what's holding up the top of the stringer on this side. Look at all the rust on that side, holding up the top of the stringer for an entire staircase that men go up and down. All right, we're going to talk about a little bit about the treads. Look at all that rust there. Look at all the rust here, bulging. Look at all that rust. Look at all that rust right there, holding the bottom of the stairs. See? A lot of improper repair. So they kind of chose and picked and choose what they were going to do. Some of these are showing evidence of rust on the treads from underneath. We also got, what happens here is whenever you have rust jacking happening up above, it creates a crack in the whole structure, and what you have is ice jacking now is cracking the entire face of this veneer, the brick veneer here. But again, all these gussets were not properly cleaned, so the rust is still inside. So every one of these bolts have to come out, new bolts go in. The area has to be 100% cleaned, silicone shut so that no more water gets into these. And then as you can see there, see, this is what's typical. The bolt is already missing on the left there. So these are from just normal wear and tear, maintenance. Rust eats the nut, pops it. Nobody knows from down below or from up above. So again, just repeats itself. Improper repair, rust left in the joint, holding this entire staircase is being held to the left side by a rusted connection, and to the right side by a rusted connection, and the gusset holding the entire platform has rust inside. So there's some issues here. Spalling, you can see the spalling cement on either side. Rusty tiers. Again, this is a fire tower, and we're almost at the very bottom. It starts repeating itself. Mainly, the top is all rotted away. You can see all the rust and the nuts and everything's gone. Okay, and they just kind of welded it right there, and that rust is eaten from the inside out. Same thing here, but look at all the rust that stayed. So the top of my stringers are badly connected, and my gussets have rust still in them because they never cleaned them out. I've got treads that have rust inside. See all that rust inside the tread? 1/4 inch rust on some of these. So some of these treads are ready to go. I have the stringers that look like this on the very bottom, holding the entire staircase. I got rust coming out of the gusset because they never cleaned it. And when you come down here, I got the bottom of the string is all rusted out right there. As you can see, all that major rust and all the major rust right there. So currently I wouldn't utilize this fire escape. Some life safety issues. Immediately this fire escape can at least get some emergency repairs done to it to make it functional. I got wide open spaces there, but the rust is still inside, making every one of those bolts suspect, even though they're brand new bolts. Probably they look like they're about 10 years old. And going down this entire staircase, a lot of rust into the building, spalling, cement connections. We verified that there is a plate on the inside. Usually it's just buried 8 to 12 inches deep, but this one does have a plate, and we took a photograph of it. On the inside, treads, repeats. You can see some of the rust on the treads going underneath. It's all original hardware in all the treads anyway. They should have been changed by now. Rusted connections going through. And then this goes, I recommend that there is a ladder, they put a ladder here so that they can at least train on how to get down. Most fire escapes do not end this high. They end on a ladder, so we should put a ladder here so that they can train on going down, unless there's other issues why they don't want. Look how bad that corner is. That corner is totally rotted out. And this corner is all 3/8 to ½ inch separation there. Look how big that separation is there. And let me just show you what the plates on the inside look like. There's the plates on the inside, so we need to verify, and that should be easily verifiable, that all the connections back into the building on all floors. We took all floors photographs. Any questions?